Grand Rising, beautiful souls. Happy Sunday, everyone. I promise you, it's so funny. Like all the haters out there, what they are actually doing, they are making us speak more. That's what's going to happen. So thank you so much for giving me that little, that little kick in behind that I haven't been doing videos. And it's so crazy because I checked back on my videos and oh my gosh, it's been almost a year. It's been, I did a video like a couple of days ago, but from the previous one, it was May 2004. It really shows you how time flies. And it really does when you are in your power, when you love what you are doing, and you completely get carried away with the time. So I'm just waiting for people to tune in. This is live that will be posted on YouTube. And thank you to all of you who are interacting, who are voicing your opinion, because I want you to know that this is not about pleasing anyone, pleasing me, especially not about pleasing me. So if you have an opinion, I so appreciate that you voice your opinion, but there is one simple requirement. Okay, if you just come on and just with tons of hate, no intelligence, no education, you haven't studied anything, or you think that you did through the indoctrination camps, and you haven't applied critical thinking, well, your comments will be just gone, okay? I've dealt with it for a very long time, and I just don't have the energy. I don't wish to give that an energy when I see that someone is just full of hate, full of negativism, full of just ignorance. Ignorance is not tolerated on this channel. So if you cannot think for yourself, if you are just programmed robot set in a certain way of going, I bless your journey. Please, be the way you are. Change is very hard. Change is difficult. Change is not comfortable. I get it. I've been there, but I broke free from it. And if you don't know how to communicate, well, don't come here and just be full of hate, because it's not going to be tolerated. Like I said, comments will be deleted. You will be called out. So I strongly recommend that anyone who doesn't like to expand, doesn't like to grow, doesn't like freedom, there is nothing wrong with it. I don't pass judgments. I bless your journey, but go to find your tribe, go to find your channels. There is plenty of them. You can all get together and you can be enslaved together, and you can just be victimized together and complain how hard life is and how difficult things are, and all these people out there who are speaking the truth, who are actually challenging the status quo. Yes, that's what we are doing here. We are challenging the status quo, because when things are not making sense, it's just your gut feeling tells you that something is off. And let me tell you what that gut feeling is. That's your connection to the higher intelligence. People call it God, source, the quantum hologram, creator, however you call it, whatever, floats your boat. It's up to you, but you just know, because energy does not lie. If you are aligned, if you are the expression of the source that you truly are, you will know. That's your gut feeling. You just know. You just know when things make sense. You know when things do not make sense. Your inner being tells you. That's that kingdom of God that they call it in the religious teachings. So we just know. And some people just don't want to know because it's more convenient. It's more convenient to just stay where you are. Truth is hard. Truth is inconvenient, and Plato said that the most hated is the one who speaks the truth. So we are used to it. We are used to it. Our tribe is so used to that there are so many people who just don't want the truth. And it's so funny. I was actually talking to someone the other day, and it seems like my channel attracts it. So I'm so used to it. I'm so used to it. So before we get into the subject that I want to cover today, and that I will be actually talking about because it's so important, because it really connects to your freedom. It connects to the law. It connects to so many other things that are connected with your birthrights that are secured by the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. So before we get there, I'd like to address a couple of comments here that we got from our last video. And it was actually very interesting because there is two kind of sides of the spectrum here when we are talking about property rights, because by the way, your birthrights are your property. That's your property. So there was a comment, how do you know God gave the right to private property? God created all and everything there is, right? So we call it's the source. It's the source of God, source of all the creation. We know that there is higher intelligence. So if God created this planet, if God created this land, we are the beneficiaries. We also came from our Creator. That's why we say we are God's children. So we came from that same source, and we came to benefit from this land, from this soil. That's why we grow food. Food doesn't come from a supermarket. Food comes actually from the ground, from the soil. We plant the seed and we trust that the seed knows what to do. That's all going back also to the trust that there is this higher intelligence that within that seed, it knows what to do. So we plant the seed, and we were put on this planet through this higher consciousness to love the land, to grow the food that gives us the nutrition. So that's how we know that this was gifted to us, not to really own, because we come here with nothing, and with nothing we leave, but we are claiming the right as the beneficiaries. In God we trust. So it's a trust. God entrusted us with this land to do the right things with the land, not to poison it, not to exploit it, not to, destroy it. And I think that's where this message is going towards to. You are just using your intuition. You need to stop with this republic stuff. You don't understand what philosophers like Locke and Rousseau said about rights or private property. You are just reasserting things you've heard before. Well, isn't that's what being said right here in the message? Aren't you reasserting stuff you've heard from Locke and from Rousseau? And I completely get it. Like I said, right to private property can be used in the right way, but can be also used in the less beneficial way. And that's when people really do not comprehend, do not understand that we are the beneficiaries, that this is why we have to protect our land. This is why we have to take good care of our land. So it produces the thing that gives us life, which is the food, which is the oxygen. The founding fathers were middle-class people who wanted rights for themselves in comparison to the aristocracy, and they didn't want private property for everyone. They created a system that gave them property and freedom. Now, 50% of the arable topsoil in the world has been depleted in half a century, and mammals depend on plants, and there is 8 billion people. You need to learn some real facts about the many crises the world faces. God wants us to own stuff, really? He wants us to put up walls saying stay out, create a coercive government to enforce property laws, which requires guns and prisons. So God wants prisons? How do you know that? You have a Stargate and supernatural hotline to communicate with God. So this message is full with a lot of stuff, and I know, I don't know, but I feel that I know where this is going. So as I said, we are the beneficiaries who came through the trust with God to benefit from the land, to manifest through the land, to give life to us and our offsprings and everyone who we are helping on this journey. So it is not to put up some walls. I do not believe in walls. I do not believe in these artificial lines. Okay, here we declare that there is some line and you cannot cross it. But we are not there yet as mankind, where we can actually create this thriving community that everyone works towards the same goal. So that's kind of that utopia thinking and going. And I really hope that one day mankind can arise to that really mutual goal, that we came here to experience this journey. We came here to learn, to grow, to expand, and then we return back home. This is why we came here with nothing, and with nothing we leave. So the property rights is only for this specific time, so we can actually make the most of the land. And I completely agree. We need to stop the exploitation of the land. We need to be protecting our land. This is why we need to get away with all these chemicals. Like anyone who knows me knows that we don't use toxic chemicals. We grow our own food. We take good care of our animals. We honor them, not like these big, slaughterhouses and these mass productions of so-called food, which is not really food. It's junk, literally filled with colors and toxic ingredients. So I wanted to address that comment. When it comes to property and our rights in regards to the property, it also goes to the thing that I was going to speak on today, because we are going to be creating these series of these talks and these videos, so it can start actually making sense. So one of the things that is a property is also your name. I will start on it from a little bit philosophical way, so you can really start seeing what has been actually done. So, our mind is a very powerful tool. But if you haven't been taught or shown how powerful really it is, and that you can be literally manipulated and programmed, because fear is a very powerful tool. And those who know neuroscience, who know psychology, they are fully aware that, you know, if you look through the history, it's been always through the fear manipulation and the fear mongering, the fear porn, right? Like, just turn on the news. It's all about just negative stuff, and worry about this and worry about that. And while all those things are here, now what we should be asking, well, how do we fix it? How do we change it? So be very aware when someone or a group or, you know, so-called government is trying to take control, because they know that it's through the fear, through the weakness, that you are not really standing in your power. So when we are born, think about it, right? When we are born, we are given a name. Now, when someone asks you, who are you? And most people answer, well, I am John Smith. Well, I'm Susan Smith. And now that's who they think they are. But are you really the name? Are you really the name? Or is it your property? So if you think that you are the name, now what the mind could be really doing is it identifies that that's you. And that now goes into the ID. This is why they created the birth certificate, and they created the mirror of your name in all caps, Ens Legis, which is a corporation. It's your corporate entity, but you think that it's you. If someone calls John Smith, oh yeah, I am here. But you are actually answering for that Ens Legis, for that corporation, because that's that legal system that was created. But is that name really you? Well, not me. I am one of the people. I am private woman. I am God's child. I am all these things, and I have a name. And that name is not even, think about it, the name was given to you. So it's not, if you say, yes, I am Susan Smith. Well, it's not even first-hand knowledge, because that name was given to you. It's a gift from your parents to you, from your mom and dad. So when you were born, you came to this physical experience, to this physical reality, and a name was given to you. It's a gift. So you were called Susan of the Smith family. Now they might have given to you a middle name, Karen, Susan Karen Smith, but of the Smith family. So what the corporation did, the United States, very clever, because they had to trick you. They had to reel you into their legal la-la land, that legal system. So that's why, because they are a corporation, and corporation cannot speak to living beings, living men and women, the people. They can only speak to the same entity. So they can only address the corporation. So if you look at your birth certificate or any legal documents, it's always speaking to you in all the caps letters. So it will be Joe Smith, all caps. But it's really corporation, to which, if you haven't really claimed it, you are really the beneficial equitable title holder. You are the contributing heir of this estate. So the name is really the transmitting utility, how they are communicating with you, this legal system, right? So when you receive summons, when you get some lawsuit, it's always in all caps letters, and that's speaking to that corporate entity. So if you are not really aware, do not create that separation that, well, I was born into a Smith family and I was given a name Susan. So now you will go, I am Susan of the family Smith. I am John of the family Smith. And I am the beneficial equitable title holder for the Ens Legis, for the all capital letters. So it's very important, really, that we recognize that mind trickery, and you know, I actually posted the other day that there are three languages, three types of English that are spoken in America. So the first one is the slang English, then is the formal English, and then it's the court English, the English that's spoken in court. And if you do not know about these three different types of English, you will be railroaded. You will think that you are doing one thing, but actually a completely different thing is happening, especially with the court system. So if you think about it, the slang language. Whenever I travel to different part of the country, and especially when the street language is different. How do you call it? The slang, the accent, there's a different word I cannot remember right now. But you might have a hard time really understanding what they are saying. Then you have the formal English, which is the one that's being taught in schools, and then you have the core language that is designed specifically to mean specific terms. So if they say person, you think that, oh, it's me, it must be that people, it must be the living being, but it really is not. Person, driver, defendant, taxpayer, resident, that all is tying that you are operating within the military jurisdiction of the United States, a corporation, federal corporation, 28 USC 3002, section 15A. Look it up, guys, look it up. So United States, you think that that's the land, that's the territory, but that's actually that military area of that 10 mile square area of that military jurisdiction that expanded across the whole United States of America by creating this overlay and fooling people that it means the same thing, but it does not. So going back to the name, from the philosophical and spiritual perspective, it's like a label, right? So if you think about it in deep thought, since we were little kids, right, our parents would teach us things and we put labels on it. Oh, as a little kid, you would be like amazed when you see a bird, when you see a bee, when you see a lizard. And you didn't know what it is. You didn't know what this being is being called. Until you knew that that's a bird, you were admiring the feathers, the sound the bird was producing. You were so astonished. You looked around and everything was magical. The world was beautiful, magical. There were miracles everywhere. These different colors of birds and lizards and butterflies and bees. And then came the adults, the educated ones, and they said, this is a bee, this is a bird. And the moment you put a label on it, something very interesting happens with the psychology of the mind, where now the mind thinks, well, this is what it is. Now that's it. So that same thing goes with the naming of people, right? It's like a label, putting a label of someone. And now you are John, now you are Susan. And when you ask people, well, who are you? Who are you? Well, I am Vice President of Walmart. My name, I am Susan Smith and blah, blah, blah. Well, these are all roles, and this is a label that was literally put across your consciousness, your being, you were reduced to a label, and that's what the name does. That's what the name literally does to your spiritual being. It reduces the spiritual being to being a corporation now. Corporation. You are a corporation. The name is corporation. And it becomes very interesting because I always ask people, well, does Queen Elizabeth have last name? Does King Charles have last name? Does, Prince Harry? Do we call Harry, I don't even know their last names or whatever their family names are. And I don't even care. But think about it. Think about it. Does anyone ask for their identification? Queen Elizabeth, I need to see your identification. Well, we don't. Why? Why? Why don't we ask for their identification? I think we should. Aren't we all made from the same clothes? Don't we all have the same blood running through us? Or maybe don't, right? They want to make you believe that they are higher. That now we have different types of societies. We have the higher people, and then we have the little people, the US citizens, the little corporations that are running around and can be identified and can be brought to the legal system, right? And can be exploited. And that's exactly what's happening. But not anymore, because people are realizing they are separating themselves from that name confusion, from that identification. And I did quite detail, in-depth write-up on it. How I decide how I identify myself. Well, I happen to be one of the people. Is there something anyone doesn't understand about it? I'm one of the people, right under God. And we, the people, are the owners and creators of government, and we created the Constitution. Is there some confusion about it? What's so confusing about it? Yeah, and my parents gave me a name, but I'm not the name. I have a name of certain family. But that name is private. That's my private property. And if anyone wants to use it, well, that comes also with a fee, because I don't work for free. I don't work for free. So don't be fooled that really think about it, right? If you are the boss, if you are one of the people, and you created this company, you run a company, and then one of your employees, a janitor, comes to you and says, I need to see your identification. I need to see your ID. You would be like, excuse me, why? Why do you need my ID? You wouldn't. Why are you allowing your public servants to be doing the same thing? These people work for you, right? So you should be actually asking for identification. I need to make sure who you are. I need to make sure that you have a proper oath of office in place, all these things. And if you don't bother me. Don't bother me. Unless, I hurt someone or someone's property or someone's rights. People, that's what you need to wake up to. Who you truly are. What is the hierarchy? Where do you stand? Do you stand right under your creator, God, quantum hologram, however you define it, that's on you? Or do you stand all at the bottom feeder, under the corporation, below the Constitution? If you do that as a U.S. citizen, driver, resident, taxpayer, defendant, you are at the bottom. You are at the bottom, and there are no constitutionally secured rights. You don't have any rights. You have privileges. They will decide what kind of civil rights you will get. Oh, let me read you your rights. Oh, excuse me? Who are you? Why will you be reading my rights? You don't define my rights. I define my rights because I know where I came. So there are two lanes we are walking, people. Okay? You are either walking the lane below your creator, right there, the second place. The best is right next to your creator, with your creator, or under the man. But if you are walking in the line, in the lane under the man, now you don't have the same rights like when you are on the top, when you are the authority, when you are one of the people, the private American, the living people. Now you will be put in different roles depending on the situation. So you decide. So this is why the naming is so critical. Psychologically, legally, lawfully. Just think about it. Take it inside and you decide who you are. And I'm going to see you on the inside. Sending much love.